So over the course of a full day, I played Resident Evil 4 Remake non-stop just to see how fast I could do the 100% and get the Platinum Trophy on PlayStation Network, and my time came to just under 24 hours. This time could have been a lot better now that I know some more things, but I wanted to make this video to give explanations on how you should route your playthroughs to get the Platinum as fast and as easy as possible. So think of this video as more of a tutorial than anything. Also, I would really appreciate if you subscribed. The majority of you are not, and even if a small percentage of you subscribe, it would help a lot. Okay, into the video. So for playthrough number 1, you're going to be doing every trophy possible in one assisted difficulty playthrough. These are the trophies that you can collect in said playthrough. Basically, it's all the ones you can collect naturally. The boss trophies, the one for parrying, and stuff like that are a piece of cake that you can get pretty easily, but there are several that will be quite troublesome. These are the treasure-related trophies, the Silent Stranger, Sprinter, Frugalist, Minimalist, Jack of all trades, and Revolution Windup. The reason this is pretty rough is because there are a ton of restrictions, and even on assisted it's pretty hard to keep track of everything. To get all previously mentioned trophies, you must complete the following in this playthrough. Collect all treasures in the game. Complete the game without talking to the merchant. Complete the game in under 8 hours. Complete the game without using healing items. Beat the game with only pistols and knives. Complete all merchant requests. And destroy all of the Clockwork Castilian collectibles in the game. I'm going to break down each part of this individually, so don't worry. Collecting all the treasures can be pretty hard because you can't buy the map off the merchant, so you're going to need to use a guide. Unless you already know where they are, but that's pretty unlikely. So I'm going to put the guide I used in the description of this video, since going over where every treasure is in this video would make it like a year long. It shows all the treasures in each section of the game, and the good thing is that they're all in order that you can get them in the game, so you won't need to do much backtracking. Completing the game without the merchant is pretty self-explanatory. Just refuse to talk to him at all costs. This will make the game harder since you won't be able to upgrade your weapons, but it's not too bad. Completing the game in under 8 hours can be tricky, but if you mess it up, it isn't the end of the world. The next playthrough, you'll definitely obtain it, so don't feel like you're screwed if you don't make the 8-hour time in this playthrough. Completing the game without using healing items may sound borderline impossible, but there's a big thing you have to keep in mind. On assisted difficulty, you regenerate health when outside of battle, so you won't be getting one-shot or anything as long as you're careful. If you're about to die in battle, then try to flee and let your health regenerate, but if you can't, then stay away from the enemies. They aren't too aggressive on assisted, so they'll usually let you get your bearings again. If you die, then don't stress. Just give certain parts a few tries and I promise you can make it. I believe in you. The Minimalist trophy asks you to beat the game with only pistols and knives. This leaves you only a few options for weaponry. The pistols you have to choose from are the standard handgun and the Red 9. You can obtain the Red 9 in Chapter 4 on the boat in the middle of the lake. It will be in a treasure chest. If you have the DLC, then you can also use the Sentinel 9. As for knives, unless you have the Primal knife somehow, you'll just have to use the knives you scavenge around the map. Once your combat knife breaks, you can't repair it since you can't speak to the merchant. The handgun I recommend using is the Red 9 because it has the best firepower that you can get, but it's quite inaccurate. So if that bothers you, then I would recommend using the default handgun or the Sentinel 9. The merchant requests can be pretty tricky as well. There are a total of 20 requests, and some of these require selling items to them. What you need to do to complete this in the same playthrough as not talking to him is make a save at the final merchant right before the last boss battle. Then reload the save after beating the game to sell the items and turn in all the requests you have completed. This can make managing your inventory a pain considering you'll need things like the Lunker Bass, but since you won't have many weapons taking up space, it isn't too bad. While we're talking about the final merchant, there's something else you need to do here. There's actually a money exploit we can take advantage of here to purchase all the weapons for the Gun Fanatic trophy. Once you load in after beating the game, you should combine all the treasures in your inventory and sell them all to the merchant. Now this part may sound a bit strange, but just bear with me. Once you sell all of the treasures, buy as many first aid sprays as you possibly can and put them all into the storage box. I'm saying you should buy hundreds of these until you're flat out broke. The reason you want to buy all these first aid sprays is because the first aid sprays on assisted cost 3,000 pesetas. If you go to professional difficulty, however, they sell for 10,000 and then sell for 5,000 each. So you're essentially making a 2,000 peseta profit on each first aid spray you buy on assisted. Pretty neat. Anyway, after purchasing all the first aid sprays, beat the game again and save it again. Load the completed save file, choose professional difficulty, and make your way to the first merchant. In New Game Plus, there's a merchant right next to the window you jump out of in the cutscene right at the beginning of the game. Once you talk to him, sell all of the first aid sprays in your storage box. This should make you about a couple million richer. After obtaining your pesetas, you need to buy all the weapons the merchant is selling. This includes the very expensive infinite rocket launcher coming in at a whopping 2 million pesetas. If you don't have enough to buy every weapon, then play through the game just a bit until you do have enough. By the way, you also need to buy all the weapons the merchant sells in the Spinal Shop as well. but you should have more than enough spinals to grab these since you should have done all the requests in the game up to this point. I know this was a lot of information back to back, but I hope it was easy to interpret. Now that we finally have most of the Gun Fanatic trophy done, and all the other trophies covered, that leaves just the Clockwork Castellans. There are 16 Clockwork Castellans in the game, one in each chapter. I will leave another guide in the description for you to pull up and use at your leisure. If you miss one, then don't worry, you don't need to get them all in one playthrough, and you can also reload saves back to the chapter and grab it if you have one. Keeping track of all these things can be pretty hard, and it's easy to miss one thing, so I recommend making a new save for each chapter in a new save slot. This will save you a lot of trouble and time in the case you make a mistake. By the end of this playthrough, you should have a ton of the trophies unlocked, and can then go into the next playthrough. This playthrough is when things can get a bit tricky, so I'm going to give you a couple of options. The first option is to do a new game professional playthrough with an S+ rank. This would most likely unlock every other trophy you're missing and get you the platinum in a mere 2 playthroughs. This is easier said than done, however. So here's the second option. You can do 2 new game playthroughs with an S+ rank instead, one on standard and one on hardcore, and then do a new game plus professional run with an A rank. A rank will unlock the Chicago typewriter for the Gun Fanatic trophy. New Game Plus makes professional difficulty substantially easier, especially since you should have the infinite rocket launcher in your save if you did all the setup for the Gun Fanatic trophy. Either of these options will unlock the difficulty-based trophies, so you can do whichever sounds more fun or interesting for you. The requirements for getting an S+ rank on professional difficulty is to beat the game in under 5.5 hours with 15 or less saves. The requirements for getting S+ rank on standard or hardcore are the same, but they don't have the save limit, so it's a lot easier. Getting S+ may sound a bit daunting, but there are a few tricks you can implement to make it a bit trivial. The first and foremost thing you should do to make these a cakewalk is to unlock the hand cannon through the Mercenaries mode. You can unlock the hand cannon by getting an S rank on the 3 main mercenary stages. You need at least 200,000 points to get an S rank, but it's not as hard as it seems. Once you have the hand cannon unlocked, you can use it in the aforementioned playthrough or playthroughs depending on which option you decide to tackle. Now the hand cannon is a very powerful weapon, but there's a bit of a problem. It's a magnum, and magnum ammo is very rare, but there's something you can do about this. As you may or may not know, the merchant sells an exclusive upgrade ticket for 30 spinels that will give you the exclusive upgrade for a gun free of charge and regardless of what the weapon's stats are. The exclusive for the hand cannon just so happens to make it infinite. So you can probably guess where I'm heading with this. You can collect the 30 spinels in the playthrough by doing the merchant's request and then get the hand cannon infinite. Or you can buy the exclusive upgrade ticket in this store, but you didn't hear that from me. If you want to get the hand cannon infinite as early as possible, then you're going to need to do all the requests you can do up to chapter 8, where you can make use of the exclusive upgrade ticket. This includes things like shooting the blue medallion, selling the Lunker Bass, and all the things you did in the first playthrough for the Jack of all trades trophy. Like I said, you can buy the ticket in the shop, but let's be real. Do you really want to spend real life money to get it when you can just unlock it? I won't tell you how to spend your money, but it's just something to consider. Once you get the hand cannon infinite though, it's basically a cakewalk. You won't need to manage ammo anymore and you'll have a ton of firepower for the whole game. It's honestly quite fun. So regardless of which option you choose to do, the basics of the playthrough are the same. Complete all the requests you can up to chapter 8, get the hand cannon infinite, and then beat the game. The only difference is whether it'll take 1 playthrough or 3 playthroughs to get this stage done. To give some additional tips to make the game a bit easier is to focus on buying and upgrading the bolt action sniper, keep the default handgun unupgraded, and buy the riot gun. I wouldn't upgrade the riot gun however. This loadout will carry you to chapter 8 pretty easily regardless of difficulty. The bolt action will be your damage dealer to bosses and other enemies. The default handgun can be used to dispatch enemies and stun enemies to run past them. And the riot gun is perfect crowd control in spots filled to the brim with enemies, such as the waterfall. Other than your loadout, all I can really recommend is to stockpile on as much health as you can and grab as many treasures as you can. The more health and pesetas, the better. If you have any extra pesetas when you get to chapter 8, then I'd buy as many upgrades for the hand cannon as possible, especially the firepower. When all is said and done, you should have all the trophies in the game within the 2 or 4 playthroughs as described. So it's definitely a bit hard to get all of these trophies done as efficiently as I went over in the video, but for those up for the challenge, I wish you great luck in your efforts. And if you decided to watch all the way to the end even though you're not going for this platinum at all, or maybe you've already gotten it, then thank you very much. I appreciate all of your support on the channel as always. If you don't mind, then like I asked at the start, then I'd really appreciate it if you subscribe. It helps the video a lot and helps me get my channel out there. I'd love you forever if you do. With that said, my name is Yandere Gogeta, and I will see you in the next video. Take it easy.